Hello, my name is Tasha. Welcome to PEPELT. Welcome to the month of November. And here comes my contribution to our theme of the month, which is celebrating the life and work of Judith Kerr. You will hear I pronounce her name slightly differently. Sandy and Gail refer to her as Judith Kerr. I grew up in Germany. My parents moved to Bavaria at the age of about 5 or 6. So I only know her as Judith Kerr. I can't actually remember my mother reading me any of her books, but I do remember reading this book. Sandy mentions it in her video, which is When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit. And it was a really important book for me, still is an important book for me when I was growing up. It's part of a trilogy, actually, so have a look. Worth your time. Now, Sandy, I've got a few Judith Kerr books here. I've got The Crocodile Under the Bed. I've got, of course, got The Tiger Who Came to Tea, which Sandy reviewed. But today I am going to talk about my favorite cat of all times, and that is Mog. Now, I'm a great fan of Mog. Mog is a cat, and you can see she lives in a family with 4 people. She lives with the Thomas, and the Thomas have got 2 children. And Mog, well, let me read a few sentences to you and you will understand who Mog is. Once there was a cat called Mog. She lived with a family called Thomas. Mog was nice, but not very clever. She didn't understand a lot of things. A lot of other things she forgot. She was a very forgetful cat. These are the opening lines to the first Mog book, which is called Mog the Forgetful Cat, which was published in 1970. This is Mog, and Mog keeps this character throughout all the books. There have been by now 16 Mog books published. The first one, as I said, in 1970, the last one in 2002, which is called Goodbye Mog, where the life of Mog ends. Now, the name of Mog comes from the term moggy, which is used to describe cats which have no specific breed. So it's a lovely name made out of something. We don't really know how to describe something, so Moggy becomes Mog. And in every book, Mog, as I said, remains this kind of forgetful cat, the cat who lives in her own little life. And in every book we have her family, the Thomases, and which consist of the mum and the dad, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, and then their 2 children. And the 2 children are called Debbie and Nicky. And that's really quite interesting because that goes back to something, how her Judith Kerr's her own children's names come into her stories, as Sandy was talking about in The Tiger Who Came to Tea. Now, Sandy mentioned that Judith Kerr's children are called Matthew and Tacy, and their second names, so it's Tacy Deborah, and it is Matthew Nicholas. And so she took Deborah and Nicholas and turned it into Debbie and Nicky, and those are the names of the 2 children in the Mog books. I'm just trying to see if I can find the names, a picture here. Yeah, so here we have got Debbie, and then let me find, yes, here we have Nicky, here up here, and then here we have got Mr. and Mrs. Thomas. And from what I understand, the Thomas was chosen because her husband, Judith Kerr's husband, was often referred to as Tom, and so she used that to create the family name Thomas. Now, every story, of course, Mog is the central figure of the story. Everything revolves around Mog and the family, and in every story there's a new character who comes to join the story. And in this book it's the granny. Here in Judith Kerr's Christmas, some other family members join for Christmas, and usually something happens, something goes quite wrong. But what is interesting, whatever goes wrong and whatever happens in the stories represent a miscommunication between the humans and the animal. And in Mog books we see it from a cat's life, how the cat sees the thing. So when the cat is left outside and she can't remember how to get back into the house, it's all about, oh my gosh, nobody loves me, I've been forgotten, and I haven't even been given even any food, and she hasn't had her supper yet, whereas she has had her supper but she's forgotten, and the cat flap is open but she can't remember where the cat flap is. So it's very, very interesting, and so some very, very interesting points to look at. Now if I just read once more a few of these sentences right at the start. Once there was a cat called Mog. She lived with a family called Thomas. Mog was nice but not very clever. She didn't understand a lot of things. A lot of other things she forgot. She was a very forgetful cat. See, there's certain rhythms. Sentences are kept quite short. And that is something Judith Kerr did on purpose to ensure that the language and the story remained accessible for the younger readers. So in these stories, we always have short sentences, and that's very, very interesting, and something why these books are also suitable. Now, I read that she uses, or she tries to use 250 words a book. Now, I mean, I counted this one, and we're definitely over 250, Judith. But the simplicity of the language and the shortness, and so some pages have got more text than others, but we have lots of illustrations which really help. So it's an interesting. So here we have got less text. So it's interesting to see how you position this class in this book in the English language teaching classroom, from the illustrations and the language level. But I think you can do quite a bit with it, and within teacher education as well. I really like the voice of the cat, and that's something that you can work with. Now, I think Mog is just a very endearing character, and what is just so beautiful is that there are so many stories to read about Mog, and to see, or to experience, and to join Mog's life. So there you go. One of my favorite cat characters in picture books, and Mog is definitely my favorite Judith Kerr picture book series that she's written. Well, 16 by now. I hope you've enjoyed the little bit of information about Judith Kerr and Mog, and I will see you soon. Bye.